Today I got to meet Volo, and he gave me his new book, the 2024 Monster Manual.
Kobold, isn't that old? We're in 2025.
No, the book is just called 2024. It's brand new, I swear. What I have here is an early access copy from Wizards of the Coast. We're gonna take a look at it. Welcome to Pack Tactics, where this book has kobolds in it, and they still have Pack Tactics. They got a new name now. They're called Kobold Warriors. Stats are exactly the same though. But here's the good news. Listen up, kobolds. You are now a dragon type. I'm a mighty dragon now. Roar!
There's also tons of artwork of different types of gators.
There's like 2 different ones. Also, there's straight up furries in this book. The artwork is furry. I wish I could show it to you because it made me laugh. They're called Animal Lords. They're CR20. I love them. I think they're cool. This is the first time I've ever covered a monster book as a standalone, so this is going to be interesting. Wizards of the Coast gave me a personal general note to what's in this book, but I didn't think it was good enough, to be honest. Cause I noticed way more stuff in here, so I'm gonna list absolutely everything new in this book. Let's start with number 1. There's gonna be 10 of them, and these are positives, okay? So here we go. This book has over 500 monsters. I counted and I got 504. Majority of them are from the older books, but all collected here, and majority of them are boosted through all tiers of play. Like for example, the Doppelganger now has an AoE Frighten feature. The interesting monsters like the Doppelganger have an extra option or so. Maybe a little bit bulkier, an extra damage die change, stuff like that. What I think is interesting is the spellcasters went from scary to terrifying because they have better options than they did before. The Archmage, which was a joke before for many years, now has 17 AC, finally has the shield spell as a reaction, 170 HP, and is like 4 times stronger. So good news everyone, you don't need to homebrew the Archmage anymore. Number 2, high level creatures got boosted the most. I'll list some examples. The Tarrasque has a 150 foot cone thunderous bellow that does 12d12 damage that recharges like a breath weapon. That makes it harder to default kill. It's still possible. I can give you a solution to auto win, but well, that can be a short. The Kraken finally has 5 legendary resistances and 4 legendary actions. 9 extra HP on average with 14 initiative and so on. The initiative scores for these monsters are absolutely nuts. Like liches have 17 initiative. What is this? Like an optimizer? They're crazy. They're going to win initiative and just cast Power Word Kill immediately. They have 20 AC, 315 HP, legendary actions and resistance, and they have at-will 5th level fireballs. In the old version, Novaing down the Lich, or especially a Demi-Lich, was actually really easy. Even Focus Fire would just wreck them, but now it's harder to do that. Now your party basically has to do both. Unfortunately, Nova got nerfed. So this Lich will probably stay around for like 2-3 rounds, and that's assuming Focus Fire. But Liches usually don't fight alone from my experience. And general parties are not very good at focus firing. So this is going to be a really good challenge for most parties. The longer that Lich is alive, the more damage it's gonna do. So I wouldn't be surprised if this thing stays around for 5 or 6. Stuff like this is going to shake up the Adventuring Day meta for sure. Monsters are tankier, which means they have more chances to do things to the party. Number 3, refined rules and enhanced stat blocks. You guys know this, you've seen the player's handbook. I love the new stat blocks. Number 4, versatile groups. NPCs and monsters can represent individuals of any humanoid species. Number 5, improved organization. It's sorted alphabetically by their names, and variations on the same monsters are grouped together. Like for example, there's brand new vampires in every tier. You can fight vampire familiars who are CR3, who are beneath vampire spawns in the vampire ranking. They're not bats or anything, they are humanoid. paranoid while they're undead. You understand what I mean. Number 6, animals have their own chapter. They're not part of the monster list. This is just so druid players and polymorph users can easily find the beasts they want to use. Number 7, more information on habitats, where you can find the creature and treasures they might drop. The DMG provides more information on treasure. Let me be clear, this is of course optional. Number 8, conversion table. I'm gonna be totally honest, I didn't look too deep into it. It's very simple from what I can see. Number 9, and this one is massive. I'm super happy about it. Martial players, listen up. Immunities to bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing damage from non-magical attacks are completely gone from the game. Thank God! Martials will never be useless ever again. That is a huge win for them. I was literally like, oh! Because they decided to do this, HP for a lot of the monsters who have these resistances have been increased massively, and even doubled like the Lich and of course the Demi-Lich. I think that's great, because that affects casters too. Some of you might be mad about the Lycanthrope changes because they lost the immunities, but hey, you gotta look at the bright side. Werewolves finally have pack tactics. It's not optimal to be a Lycanthrope anymore. That's healthy for the game. Number 10, tons of new art, which is fun to look at. Art in monster manuals got me into tabletop gaming, so I put a lot of points into that. Unfortunately, the PDF that I got makes the art quality worse because everything is watermarked. So I can't really say what's good or bad because, you know, a lot of it is bad in the PDF. My name is like plastered on top of the art. So my first time experience is ruined there. For you guys, it's going to be completely fine and high quality. Anyways, that's all the good stuff really. Now let's talk about the bad things. It's only 3 points, and one of them is really big. So here we go. Number 1, magical bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing damage is turned into force damage. That nerfs barbarians. Martial lol. To give you the exact numbers, because I counted, 52 out of 504 creatures got this change. This makes Ring of Force resistance stronger, which I recommend you try to get, barbarians. Number 2, and opinions might vary here. Lair actions are no longer in the game. What we have now is just special lairs. The region can give players debuffs like bright light becomes dim light instead. Or if you short rest in a vampire lair, you need to make a DC 15 wisdom saving throw. If fail, you don't get the short rest. That's devastating for warlock players, although you could just try again if the party is desperate. But that means another roll on the random table. Also, when the big boss is in the lair, they will have more legendary actions and resistances. I wouldn't say this change is a fully negative or anything, but I know some DMs are gonna be mad about this. Number 3, and this is my biggest negative. I'm actually mad about this. Monster statistics by challenge rating and the adventuring day never made it in the new DMG. I thought it would show up here in the monster manual because that made sense to me. And I also thought running dungeons would be a chapter here, but none of that made it in any of the books, which is something I find incredibly disappointing. So unfortunately, if you plan on making your own monsters, I think the 2014 DMG is more useful in specifically that department. Now, don't get me wrong, it is flawed, but I do believe it's better than what we got in the new DMG. The new DMG is too simplified for me. But really that hurts the rating for the 2024 DMG, not really the monster manual. I checked all the monster books I own from Pathfinder, Call of Cthulhu, and third-party D&D books. I have tons of them. I've been collecting books for like 14 years. And I gotta say, the 2024 monster Manual is now the biggest monster manual I own. This book is absolutely worth your money, even if you don't like the 2024 books. It's actually fantastic for 2014 games and optimized tables. This is 504 monsters with ramped up difficulty than the base game. That's literally what everybody wants. And I gotta say, Nova, single target damage, and focused fire are more important now than it's ever been before. The spellcasters are terrifying in this book. When it comes to a monster book, this is easily a 9 out of 10 for me. This is straight up an auto purchase. This is the best monster book they've ever made for 5e. I'm very happy with it. But now I'm actually mad about the 2024 DMG. Like, what the hell? Why isn't there a chapter about running dungeons? Do we really need chapter 6 in the DMG? The cosmology? Majority of tables only care about one realm, like the material plane. The only tables that care about that sort of stuff are high-level parties or people who play Planescape or Spelljammer, which are rare games from what I know. Dungeons are super common. It's literally in the name of the game. How do I make a good dungeon? How many encounters should I have on average? How many dice should I buy from Only Crits? Oh, I'm so mad we're gonna go into an ad. These guys have over 100 different dice to choose from, and they're high quality. They've got metal dice, dice with little creatures in them, sharp edge dice, hollow dice, and much more. They've also got these mystery dice set subscriptions, which is the cheapest option where you get a random set of dice every month. That could be a fun surprise, and at the same time, your dice hoard grows naturally, Mr. Dragon.
If there's a set you don't like, you can give it to your friends or bribe your DM.
I recommend bribing your DM so you get heroic inspiration. Speaking of, when you roll inspiration, you have to roll the coolest dice set. What do you think is the coolest gator?
Duckies.
I don't know why I didn't expect that. My favorite is the chromatic prism metal dice set. They're forged by dwarves deep in the Underdark. There's a lot of really cool dice here. Check out Only Crits at onlycrits.com/gatortactics, and if you like what you see, use the code GATOR for 15% discounts. Anyways, I got permission from Wizards of the Coast to show off a page from the new book. Half Dragons got a new design. They look like brutes now. Before they looked like regular Dragonborns like this. So I like the new design.
Kobold, he looks so scary.
Gator, he's got the blood of Tiamat in him.
Oh, he's a good guy then. He's a friend.
The art is by Matthias Kolras, who's worked on a ton of Magic the Gathering and D&D stuff. Here's the stat block. CR5 medium dragon creature. Good AC for its CR, decent HP. It has incredibly good mobility. It's going to jump over spike growth. It will move 60 feet and breath weapon the party. That's a 30-foot cone that does fireball damage. That's very good for CR5. Plus 5 initiative as well. If it wins initiative, which it's pretty good at doing, plus 5 is really good. It will most likely hit the whole party with the breath weapon. If the party is like level 3, it will knock out a party member or two on average. That's assuming they don't have absorb elements or anything. This is an incredibly good skirmisher and looks really fun to throw in packs at late tier 2. Parties that use mounts are probably gonna struggle with these guys unless they have Phantom Steed or flying mounts. It also says you can find these guys anywhere, and treasure is armaments. Here's the lore text for ideas. It says, born through magical rites involving the essences of dragons, half-dragons serve their creators as their own draconic whims. Most half-dragons are created by chromatic dragons who desire servants with some trace of their own might and grandeur. Half-dragons frequently command other servants of a villainous dragon, or act as agents in lands where their draconic master would attract unwanted attention. Half-dragons share personality traits and agendas with the dragon who spawned them. Those resembling chromatic dragons typically loathe their creator even as they seek the same ends. Half-dragons with the traits of metallic dragons are especially rare, but they might arise through magical accidents, the efforts of reckless magic users, or the last act of a dying dragon. Everything I just went through is super interesting. You can make a sick campaign out of this and and have all the colors of the chromatic half-dragons involved, raiding villages and maybe even cities for treasure to bring back to the best goddess in the world. You can join them in their unholy crusade. And maybe Tiamat herself will bless you with strength.
Kobold, I think Wizards of the Coast wants us to be evil.
Alright. Then you have to stop the chromatic half-dragons. The lore text also talks about reckless magic. Maybe kobolds and half-dragons kidnap villagers and turn them into half-dragons, and you have to stop them. Or maybe you could just make an interesting quest giver or sidekick who's a silver half-dragon. Maybe he's a doomsayer who randomly just appeared outside of the city gates, calling out for all heroes to aid him. For those who played Elder Scrolls Oblivion, I'm thinking about the Prophet from Knights of the Nine DLC. You can basically just take that entire adventure. Go on an adventure and get the blessings from gods, get the magic items the half-dragon knows about, and defeat the big evil bad guy who's like a demon king or something. The half-dragon is obviously an agent of a silver dragon who died, or he might be an agent of Bahamut himself. That might be too obvious, but you can twist it into different ways.
Kobold, it sounds like you can grab all the lore ideas and just shove it into a game.
Yeah, then you have a campaign from tier 1 all the way to tier 2, and then you get the actual dragons involved in tier 3. Dragons are super cool. They're so cool that they're in the title of the game.
Is that everything you can show?
Yup, but I've got more to say. I'm not gonna rewrite the stat blocks, I'm just gonna talk about them. This is a channel for players, so let's talk about things that are important for them. Endgame spells like Planar Binding are boosted, that's expected. Endgame Necromancers made out like a bandit in 2024. Like, holy moly. By the way, and this is just funny, there's a new monster called the Haunted Revenant, which is an undead that takes the form of an entire building. That can be a haunted house, a ruin, or even a ship. This is the coolest new monster this book has. This creature can be a living dungeon. The players are gonna go through the building and not realize the whole building is an undead creature messing with them. I think the design team recently saw Monster House, which is a great kids movie. Anyways, let's talk about Summon Greater Demon. That got boosted. Balgura, which is a common summon people use, has more HP on average. It's 85 now instead of 68. +2 initiative. It does 2d12 extra psychic damage with the bite, and once per day can cast Phantasmal Killer at 6th level. It lost Phantasmal Force. Its DPR went from 20 to 29, which makes it do more damage than the Giant Ape, which is a CR7. This is a CR5. That is a huge boost. Optimized tables are going to use this more often. If you plan on using this spell, I highly recommend checking out this video so you know how to use this spell properly. This is a really dangerous spell if you don't know what you're doing. Link in the description. Rocks have 152 HP on average instead of 104. +2 initiative, it lost the resistance to bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing damage. DC for saves is now 15 instead of 14, and its Shred does an extra 3d6 poison damage. I highly recommend Planar Binding a rock through a summon. For more details, check out the Planar Binding video. Glabrezu has more HP, initiative, and damage. You get the point with the Summon Greater Demon stuff. There's like one that got nerfed, but other than that, everything else is a boost. And still to this day, the biggest highlights here are still the Barlgurla and the rock. Saying Barlgurla is so hard. I can't do it. Now for Polymorph. Giant Ape now has 168 HP instead of 157. +5 initiative, and has a bonus action leap 30 feet by spending 10 feet of movement. Big mobility boost there. Unfortunately, the boulder toss is now a recharge on a 6. The ranged attack sadly got nerfed. So playing a Giant Ape is now more like playing tank in Left 4 Dead 2. T-Rex, which is a CR8, is still worse than the Giant Ape. That sucks. I was hoping it would get better. Giant Ape is still the go-to choice for Polymorph. And finally, druid stuff for animals. I'm still of the opinion that for normal druids, you shouldn't fight in the wild shape form. But for moon druids, that's a completely different story, of course. Some animals got boosted, like the ones that charge, but other than that, there's not really much. Giant crocodile, giant scorpion, and mammoth got a damage boost. From an optimization perspective, I only really care about the Quetzalcoatlus, although Quetzalcoatlus is not in this book. Now here's the most shocking thing out of all the animals. Giant eagle, giant elk, and giant owl are celestials now instead of beast. I have no idea why they did this. That really sucks for normal druids though. Giant eagles was a common pick for them. That's everything I wanted to talk about really. Out of all the 2024 core rulebooks, this one is the best one by far. I recommend everyone gets this, especially if you don't have that many monster books. Like, dude, this is over 500 monsters that are boosted in one book. This is such an easy choice. 2014 players are going to be happy with this too. They always want stronger monsters. That's my player perspective review. DMs are going to have a really good time with this book, and players are going to love the new challenges. End of video. Guys, we have YouTube membership right now. I probably should have set that up years ago, but I'm a fool. If you wish to support me directly, that's the perfect place. Also, stay tuned on Backer Kit. We plan on doing 2 dice sets ourselves. I'm very excited for this project. Anyways, I hope you liked the video. I have a feeling it's going to do badly because monster books are not popular on YouTube. But we'll see. I hope I earned a like, comment, and a subscription. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye!